Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my ranking of all 8 Best Picture nominees for the 2019 Academy Awards. Another year in which I've actually seen every Best Picture nominee before the nominations were announced. So, as has become tradition here on the channel, we're going to go ahead and rank all of the Best Picture nominees. So full disclosure, this is just my personal list. In no way is this a prediction. This is not a likelihood of 1 through 8. How likely are they to take home Best Picture? This is not based on anyone else's opinions of the film. And honestly, this may not even be a direct opinion of what I think is the quote-unquote best made, best well-crafted film overall. This is just how I rank the films in enjoyment, how I rewatch them, just pretty much how I like the films, and that's how we're doing this ranking here. Also here on the channel, we're getting ranking videos for critical scores as well as box office, audience scores. So we're going to really be going in depth on these Best Picture nominees and what the landscape is looking like across the board. But for this video right here, it's purely my opinion. So like everyone else, I did have a few problems with the pictures nominated here for Best Picture. However, I can't complain too much because if you've seen my top 10 films of 2018, 4 of these Best Picture nominees made it into my top 10 proper. So half of these were part of my 10 favorite films of the year. So I'd say that's a pretty awesome percentage on my personal books. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the ranking. In 8th, aka last place, I have Bohemian Rhapsody. This was a pretty easy last place for me. Now I do have plenty of positives when it comes to Bohemian Rhapsody. First of all, because I just love Queen as a band. I love their music. Freddie Mercury, obviously, is an icon, one of the best vocalists ever, period. And the musical sequences within the film itself were stellar. Like, they were really fantastic. Of course, how could you not fall in love with that Live Aid concert at the end of the film? It was magnificent. Plus, I do think Rami Malek was really good as Freddie Mercury. He was able to really emote and act through exaggerated teeth and kind of ridiculous looking makeup and hair that they gave to him. And all of the other actors who play Queen, the band, are stellar. All of the acting in this film, actually, just across the board, was really, really good. Getting those awesome musical concert moments obviously leave you coming out of the theater on a high. But unfortunately, there's just so much I had a problem with when it comes to Bohemian Rhapsody. First of all, I think that it is just so standard biopic that it makes it really difficult to overlook so many other flaws within the film. It doesn't take any sort of chances with structure, with theme, with tone, any which way. It is a standard PG-13, super safe, super sanitized biopic about an LGBTQ icon who was anything but safe, sanitized, and standard by any stretch of the imagination. Not to mention the depiction of sexuality I thought was horribly mishandled. First of all, we didn't really even get, like, love between anyone of same sex. I think there was, like, a forced kiss or two in here. But of course, the actual, like, meaningful relationship he has with another man is vastly underappreciated by the filmmakers. It's basically an afterthought that is unrealistically tacked on to the end of this film. Otherwise, gays are depicted as, like, horrible influences, the big bad gay that's, like, ruining his life. Plus, it is the worst case of biracial I have seen in media. When you have your main character quite literally say, "I'm bisexual," and another character in the film corrects him and says, "No, you're not. You're gay. Oh my God, you're gay." And then the film agrees. They take that stance. And it's just really upsetting because looking back at Freddie Mercury's track record, it looks a whole lot like bisexuality to me, and the fact that he loved this woman to the day he died, period. That's kind of what bisexual means. But the overall depiction of the gay community at large, the bi-erasure, the complete safety of the script and the filmmaking, honestly, a lot of the filmmaking itself was bland. Coming from a director that probably should not be hired ever again, please. But that's a different issue for a different day that I kind of already went over in my movie review for Bohemian Rhapsody. Honestly, it's a standard old school type of feel-good biopic musical and nothing more. That's why it comes in at last. At number 7, I have Vice. Vice is so hit or miss with me. Overall, I should love this film. Any movie that like full on takes aim at Dick Cheney and is like, you're terrible? Yeah, I should be the target audience on board for that kind of movie. However, it just doesn't quite do it for me. First of all, Adam McKay basically copies and pastes his exact same formula from The Big Short and just lays it over the top of a Dick Cheney story. However, I don't think it works for this more singular topic of Cheney. It works great for The Big Short. Here, it loses some of its punch. It loses a lot of the focus, and it doesn't come across as effortlessly. It doesn't come across as fresh and boundary pushing. It ultimately comes across as unfocused and unclear on what it is it's trying to do, what it's trying to accomplish. And at times, Adam McKay actually comes across like he's confused as to what he's trying to say about Dick Cheney, which in a film that is clearly meant to skewer the ex-vice president, that's a problem in the filmmaking department, in the scriptwriting department, and in the editing department. All across the board, it just seemed unfocused. And that was my biggest problem with Vice. However, the performances were absolutely stunning. Christian Bale is amazing in this film. Amy Adams is amazing, as she always is. Sam Rockwell didn't deserve a Best Supporting Actor nomination, but he was also very solid. Tyler Perry, everybody in this film. Steve Carell was great. Everybody did a wonderful job. And it lands some really crazy stuff very well. I really enjoyed the Shakespeare sequence in the middle of the film. There are great moments of meta-ness that worked really well, but for every great moment of meta commentary, there was an equally moment of meta commentary. Honestly, Vice was all over the board. I would have liked a more focused skewering of Dick Cheney, if we're being honest. And I think it would have just made for a more coherent and better made film if it were that. At number 6, I have Green Book. A perfectly lovely little film. That is basically what you get with Green Book. Kind of an old school type of film about unlikely friends that come together. It tackles the issue of racism in a non-threatening type of fashion that aims to approach the broader audience. However, my opinions have definitely been swayed on this film based on its post-release commentary from both sides, from both families, speaking on what happened in this film, the accuracies and portrayals of their family members in this film. Honestly, when you have one side of the family just so vehemently against the portrayal of their beloved one, it taints the overall experience. And it taints the overall message. And honestly, it just feels safe. It feels very dated. And especially when you have it in juxtaposition to all of these more groundbreaking, boundary-pushing, relevant forms of filmmaking when it comes to race relations in the United States, told by Black directors, by Black writers, and we get this one told through the lens of all the white people. It definitely has that feeling of taking a step backwards in how we tell the Black experience. So overall, I think Green Book as a film, just on its own, without any of the outside information, is fine. It misses the opportunity to really speak on the Green Book, on the history of said Green Book, on what it meant to people, and some of the dangers. But it still provides a feel-good, warm, effective enough film. And that only gets it to number 6 on my list. At number 5, I have A Star is Born. I thought this movie was pretty great, honestly. I have wavered a little bit in my overall opinions of the film, but in totality, I think it was a really good movie overall. First of all, the bottom line, the music is amazing in this movie. Pretty much all of these original songs, even the supposed to be not good ones, just make them great. Lady Gaga sounds amazing. So does Bradley Cooper, who knew he could sing. And their acting, their chemistry, their playing off of one another is all stellar. Our two leads kill it in this movie, as does Sam Elliott. The story carries the punch that you hope it would carry. It really takes on the emotional heft that it needs to by the end of the film. And I really did think it was an effective musical drama. However, we've seen it before. It's nothing really new. Of course, we have 3 other renditions of A Star is Born, but we've also seen this template of a story before with other films as well. I think there are definitely moments, especially when Lady Gaga's character is on the rise, that the film really slows down. Her ascent is like so amazing to just watch. That whole first act all the way through to her like getting there is amazing. And then the film really has pacing problems once that takes place. I think it loses its footing in trying to find that like relationship dynamic after that point, but it comes back around by that end to give us the emotional conclusion you would hope for. So A Star is Born is great. I'm happy it's getting all of the love that it has gotten, and it's number 5 for me. At number 4, I have Roma. What a lovely, impactful, beautiful film Roma is. When we talk about cinematography, when we talk about directing a film, look to Roma, because this film has some of the most impeccable direction I have seen in maybe even years. It is so perfectly executed from Alfonso Cuarón. And the script from Cuarón, also amazing. But obviously, the cinematography is breathtaking. It is absolutely gorgeous, stunning. The black and white just adds to the overall atmosphere of what it is we're watching. And it's just beautiful. But this really contained story is also beautiful. Yalitza Aparicio is so good in the main role. She is effortless, she is sweet, she is naive but brave and strong. You can feel the love, the familiarity, the respect flowing through her from Cuarón, and that's what really makes it work. You connect to her character. She is easy to love, she is easy to root for, you are instantly into her plight, and that makes the emotional moments we get near the end of the second act through into that third act so impactful. I will say that it clearly does move at a very leisurely pace, which for the most part works beautifully well for the story. However, we go on a few tangents in the middle where you're like, what in the world am I watching? Where a guy is wearing this like Bigfoot bodysuit amidst a wildfire. There are moments in there where you're like, okay, we could have cut this out. We've been on a way out there detour that wasn't needed for the runtime. And I don't know how rewatchable at large Roma is in comparison to my top 3, and that's why it wasn't able to quite break through to that next level. But from pretty much every technical aspect, Roma is dang near perfect. At number 3, I have The Favorite. Now, these top 3 are really close. Honestly, any of the 3 could jockey up and snatch that number 1 spot. That's how much I really loved these 3 films. What an amazing ride The Favorite is. First of all, it also is beautifully directed, and the cinematography in this movie is absolutely stunning. The set designs are amazing, and oh, the costumes, are you kidding me? Impeccable. But the reason this film works as well as it does comes down to four things. First of all, the script. This script is so witty. It's full of venom, and just the right kind of venom that you want, that you crave, that you can't get enough of. The one-liners land. It is so funny in the most dark, satirical way you could hope that it would be funny. It provides all of the aspects of a farce, of a satire that you're hoping it's going to throw out at these period pieces, at the class system, at the monarchy, while also providing one of the best catfights we've seen in film. It is so good. And speaking of that catfight, that brings up reason number 2, 3, and 4 when talking about why it works so well with Olivia Colman, Rachel Weisz, and Emma Stone, who are all amazing in this film. And we have Nicholas Hoult, who hasn't even been talked about, who is amazing. Really, he is the fourth in the cat fight here, and he brings out the claws beautifully well. Honestly, I have very few flaws with the favorite. It is so much fun while being intelligent, while being beautiful. It's just great. At number 2, I have Black Klansman. Spike Lee is back, and finally an Oscar-nominated director and filmmaker. Can you believe it's taken him all these years with his filmography? That's insane, first of all. But what a film to make your debut on, because Black Klansman is great. Spike Lee is back to his directorial best when it comes to Black Klansman. His style, his flair, his fingerprints are all over this film, but they are executed and input perfectly. Like when we get those moments of just beautiful black faces against this solid black background as we hear this empowering Black Panther speech. It's breathtaking. It is such a wonderful moment of the film. Then we get this score that works perfectly with the time setting, with the era, with the slight blaxploitation feel of it all. There's a moment in this film that took my breath away. It was so well done when we have an initiation amongst the Klansmen, and then we also are overlaying that with a speech about slaves and Black Americans being beaten, being hung for existing, basically, being told over at the Black Student Union. Wow, these Klans people are hooting and hollering as they watch Birth of a Nation, and it's haunting. It's haunting to see the two perspectives of history in which these people are deriving from, where they are pulling their energy, their passion, and their power from. And it's done in really a masterful way. All of our performances here are really stellar. John David Washington is really a revelation in this film. Adam Driver is fantastic here. Topher Grace is really good as well. Really, the whole cast delivers. Honestly, I know some people think it is too heavy-handed, but I thought the ending hit home the point that it needed to make really well. I mean, you're getting a Spike Lee film, and if you've never watched one of his films before, Spike Lee is not known for being subtle in his storytelling. And this film overall was much more subtle than most of his films, and adding in that commentary just further helped to drive home the point of, have we really come that far from this? And finally, my pick for number 1, my favorite film nominated for Best Picture is Black Panther. Call me a fanboy, call me a geek, call me a nerd, call me a fake cinephile. I don't care what you call me. I love Black Panther. And people are out there trying to negate this nomination with any little crumb and scrap that they can. I'm going to say it again. To all the Black Panther hate I encounter, I just have to say thank you. Next, because this deserved a Best Picture nomination. Does it abide by the typical Marvel formula? At large, yes it does. However, it has the cast, it has the script, and it has the director that takes that familiar Marvel formula and elevates it to something so much bigger and more impactful, as we saw that it was an undeniable contender for this Best Picture nomination. Getting to that script, I think it is expertly done. Our character development in this film, from minor side characters to our main villain, is amazing. Plus, the writing as a juxtaposition between our villain and our hero, and the fact that either one of them winning out seemed somewhat a reasonable plan, is spectacular. I mean, that was the crux of this script, really. Plus, we interweave current social issues regarding opening borders, reaching out, moral dilemmas about your work and your job as a human being on planet Earth to other human beings and to other animals and other species here on Earth. It was an amazing message, and it was so well done without ever coming in with a heavy hand or a smashing fist. The acting in this movie was stellar. Of course, Michael B. Jordan is definitely the standout, and I think could have easily snagged a Best Supporting Actor nomination. Chadwick Boseman is effortless and wonderful as this character. Lupita Nyong'o was so good, and then of course Letitia Wright was kind of the breakout here. But we also had Denai Guerrera, who killed it and is now my new fave. And then we get to that casino fight, and it really showed off the direction of Ryan Coogler here. Those one-shots weren't just like gimmicky one-shots that you see in films that want to like up their art cred. No, that one-shot is unlike anything I've seen in any comic book film up to this point. The fact that we moved layers and we moved around a multi-dimensional room that had different levels to it, amazing, while never losing sight of the action. All of the action in this film also is so well done. And of course, we get big battles. At its bare bones, this is still an MCU superhero film. If there was no action, people would have been crying that Ryan Coogler didn't actually make a superhero film. Instead, he blended a superhero film with a sophisticated political drama, and he did it effortlessly well. The sets are amazing, the costume designs are gorgeous, and he delivered Wakanda a place that is so unlike anything we have seen in the MCU, from planet Earth, Asgard, or anywhere else. It was so authentic, so beautiful, and it created a cultural movement unlike anything we have seen to this date in film, I would say. This was a game changer for the film industry, not only for comic book films, not only for the MCU, but for the film industry at large. And it's not just because it was a flashy superhero movie that Marvel could easily market. It was because it was a film that was well executed and spoke to us, the audience, in a way that superhero films have not done for a very long time. You can argue about what other superhero film maybe had deserved it in their year, or maybe you think some other superhero film deserved it this year. I would disagree that any of them, including Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I think should have been nominated for Best Picture, deserves to take Black Panther's spot. I'll agree maybe it deserves to take one of these other film spots, or it deserved the 9th or 10th spot. But Black Panther, for me, undeniably, without question, deserves this Best Picture nomination, and in no small part because it is my favorite of the films nominated for Best Picture 2019. Woo! So that's it. That is my ranking of the 8 Best Picture nominees for the Academy Awards 2019. I know it might seem controversial, especially that #1 pick. I know many won't agree with. So leave your respectful, constructive, conversational points in the comment section down below. And of course, most importantly, tell me how you would rank these 8 Best Picture nominees. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about the Oscars as movie fans and have some really fun, respectful conversation in the comment section down below. And if you liked this video and you want to stay up to date not only on all of my Oscar discussions, rankings, and review leading all the way up to the end of February, but also all of my other reviews and movie related content, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and like this video if you did in fact enjoy it. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!